Damn.
Hey everyone, quick update on the Hatsan Neutron Star. I know you folks have been anxious about this rifle. I know we highly recommended it because of its accuracy, first initial impression with accuracy and power and consistency. We highly recommended it. Well, that may be changing a little because there is another problem that occurred. So not only we got our hammer spring sear, which this is the one we call wishbone looking thing in the other video that we mentioned that failed. Well, this is the original, and the original doesn't versus what came in. Well, the reason why this failed right away is because they act independently to one another. Okay, and the one that came in will show a quick picture, but there is basically a rivet that joins the two together as a single piece, so they act in unison to one another. This one was not. Okay, so that's the obvious difference and the obvious reason why it probably failed in about 200 shots. And after we repaired it, bent it back together and did another 400 shots or so. So typically 600-700 shots, it failed again, and we wasn't just having it anymore. We ordered a new hammer sear and a new hammer spring sear, and we replaced it. And after maybe 3-4 shots or so, we thought that it was good, but then 3-4 shots later, the gun had a whole nother issue of symptom. And this one is a lot more serious because it's a little bit harder to identify. And we sort of know what it is. It's the valve is probably failed on this one. It's not locking into position as it should, causing a fault within. Think about as a very exaggerated hammer bounce. That's what this rifle is having. Okay, and when I said very exaggerated, that's probably the understatement of the decade, because this thing in one trigger pull. So after we noticed something was going on, we tried it again, and it's like 1 to 2 seconds. It's like a continuous fire. It's almost like a machine gun going off in one trigger pull. Okay, so it was like brrr, and that's it. Like your pressure is gone. So we filled it again and filled it to 250 bar max pressure. We filled it to 250 bar, and one trigger pull, it's basically the whole entire shot string in one trigger pull. I mean, literally, it was from 250 bar to 100 bar. It literally went down to that far. Yep, 100 bar. And you know, we tried it again and same thing. So in short, what's happening with this rifle is one trigger pull and it's just brrr, and all your PSI is gone, like literally. Your whole shot string is gone all in one trigger pull. And what's happening is the hammer, when the initial shot that puts that hammer into motion, it hits the valve pin that opens the valve, and it's just pushing the hammer back, and the hammer is going back like this over and over in 3 seconds. The shot, or 3 seconds or less, 55 or 60 shots plus is gone, all in one shot. Okay, and when I say that, it's literally is like a machine gun going off in an air rifle mode. It's like brrr, soon as that initial force of the hammer spring, brrr, and it's all gone. Like, that's what's happening. So we just kind of want to give you folks, I know you folks have been like questioning, hey, what's going on? How's the reg? How's this? How's that? Can you show us this? How about slugs? You know, all sorts of messages we're having. And I know this is such a good purchase. Initially we thought, well, that, yeah, it's still accurate. That doesn't take away from the accuracy. And it might just be isolated to just this rifle. Because again, there was a quality check issue probably, I'm not sure. And the valve is no good. We'll talk to Hatsan and see what's going on their take, but the video will show you how to do a quick adjustment, just to give you folks an idea, because I know you folks really want to adjust your gun. So we're going to go ahead and show you that real quickly, and it's real simple. All you need to do is take your scope off if you need to, because you're gonna need to take out your stock. So I know we highly recommended the gun, and that doesn't take away from its accuracy potential. It is very accurate, what we got so far. It's just that the weather have been so bad, and we're loosening this bolt, the most forward bolt, skipping the middle bolt, and taking the closest to the butt cheek and taking that bolt out to remove the stock. Okay, be careful, because there is this little piece that goes on there. It's the mirror spacer washer piece that goes inside there. Okay, so we're gonna put that on the side, and all you need is a 4mm Allen. Get the one that's fairly long. You're gonna need it, okay, because it needs to reach that far in. Okay, and you stick it right here, and then you're gonna need another type of Allen, a much smaller one. You can go with like a 2.5 or so, and then look for, with a little flashlight or so, you can look for a hole in there, like that. There's a little hole right here, okay? And what you want to do is stick this, you know, turn this until you see that, okay? Now this is opposite, you know, for like, say for example, most rifles, you normally go righty tighty to increase the tension. Okay, this one is lefty loosey with your adjustment to get it to increase the hammer spring tension, okay, to make it stronger, okay, because the adjustment screw is not here where it normally should be or would be on most rifles. So normally you would tighten that like that and you go counterclockwise to, you know, turn the adjustment screw, and as you turn it, the spring compression rate decreases or intensifies, or whatever you folks want to call it. In this case, the hammer spring adjustment is inside the hammer itself, okay? So the hammer piston, or the hammer, okay, period. I'm not gonna mess with it. So it's in the hammer itself, and all you're doing is loosening that screw. So now, therefore, by turning it, so if you were to look at it like this, you're actually turning that screw right by going counterclockwise on this side, and therefore tightening that tension on that spring, okay, that hammer spring. So that's all there is really to it. Be careful when you have it like this. It can fall and damage your quattro trigger, okay, so just be real careful, just pay attention, have it in one of your vise or what have you, but yeah, be real careful with this. And all you're doing is, again, go back to our tuning video, and same thing, you just want to go. Our rifle came at about 30 foot-pounds, so we turned it 2 full turns to see where it would be at, and then we knew that it was on the high side, and then we begin to turn it a quarter of a turn each time. So when we say quarter of a turn, it's, if you got it like here, quarter of a turn would be there, okay? And then you take this off, and again, be real careful, get your bag, make sure you sit it properly and you don't hit your trigger, okay? And you could do some test fires, okay? Do that, and then just put in your mag and then just fire the gun. Make sure that you do about 3 to 4 shots, just to make sure it adjusts a little bit, the valve and the spring. Just do maybe 2-3 shots free. Disregard your chronograph data. That's what we mean by free shot. And then test for velocity and speed after that, okay? Check, and that should have settled it correctly. And then from there, if you kind of like where, if you want to loosen or increase, again, to loosen is actually right, okay? Loosen is right. Tighten or increase tension, increasing the potential inertia of that spring, making it stronger. Let's just say that. Making the hammer spring stronger, you go left, okay? Lefty-loosey. And to weaken the spring force, you go righty, okay? Righty-tighty. It's opposite of majority of guns out there, okay? So just to give you folks an idea, that's basically it. Tuning, you can watch the other video on the basics. Basically it's the same concept. You're just looking at where you want the power to be, and for us the consistency was around 44 foot-pounds. Okay, that's where the hammer spring. This gun is capable of 60 foot-pounds of energy. Okay, but that's very, very inconsistent. So we played around all throughout the FPE range from 30 all the way up to 60, and we realized the most stable is at a what do you call that, at 44. Okay, and you can see that in the initial impressions of the chronograph data. You can see where we're at when you want to look at if you want to simulate our consistency. Again, every rifle is different, but ours was 44 foot-pounds of energy is where we found the sweet spot. Okay, very, very consistent, the standard deviation, that sort of deal. So you want to go quarter of a turn each time, and maybe even just a little, and then try it. Once you think you got it, play around by doing the quarter of a turn by 1/8 of a turn instead. Little, just to fine tune it a little bit more, just when you think you're at that area where it's nice and sweet. Okay, and you just want to go a quarter a turn, 1/8 of a turn each time, to see if it makes a difference. Okay, but yeah, so you want to do 10 shots each time, not including the free shot to settle the spring. Okay, the 2-3 shots to settle the spring, and then you check your velocity, do about 10 shots to see if you think it's consistent. Again, 10 shots doesn't give you a big picture, but just to save you some pellets, you kind of want to do 10 just to see if at 10 you think that the standard deviation and extreme spread is fairly close to a 10, then you might want to consider pushing that and extending it to 20, even 30 and further if you think you got it. Okay, so 10 at a time, but after you think you might be needing a little bit more persuasion, or I guess, I'm not sure. Anyway, that's that. I'm running out of words here, but that's in short how you tune this rifle. Okay, again, to strengthen the force of the spring, you counterclockwise, but you have to find that little hole and just go straight down like this until, and you turn it, and this is if you don't have a flashlight, and till it locks, and now you can turn your hammer half a turn, a full turn, quarter of a turn. But those are the turns. Like if I was at 60 FPE or 55 FPE and I wanted to get to, let's say I'm at 55 FPE and I know I wanted to get to about 40 FPE to see how it behaves, I would turn it one full turn or 1.5 turn to see how that is. Okay, and then do 2 free shots without chronograph, and then do 10 valid shots with chronograph, and to see where my standard and extreme spreads are. Okay, but that's quick. Hopefully that'll help you folks out, and that's an update, and we compiled it into a adjustment tuning video. So hopefully you folks get what you folks wanted to get out of this channel, and get you squared away. But again, stay tuned for more. We're gonna do a teardown, but I think we'll need to figure out, because we think that the valve is faulty on this one. It might be another one of those things where, yeah, same as that hammer spring, it probably had a failed valve. It's not locking properly in its place like it should. Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Okay, it's not locking in place, so obviously there's a bang, 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 and it's like literally 3 shots. I mean, 3 seconds, 55 shots, 60 shots, 70 shots, all gone down the drain. Seriously, from 250 bar to 100 bar, okay, in one trigger pull, that's gone. So that's what a problem is. And that screw that we're talking about is this screw. We replaced it with a stronger metal, which is stainless steel, and we replaced it with this because this one flattened in the period that we've had it, and we thought that because maybe it's getting flat on one side, we turned it and it was still doing it. So because we know it's soft, it's not doing its function as it should, was intended for anyway when it gets flatter and flatter, because the hammer is hitting against this. So that's what we replaced, but that's that. And thank you for watching. Aero Sentinels out. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more videos. Laters. Out.
People on YouTube, you call me a homo, but you think I step by this? Well, that shit is a no-go. You're all coming one, because when